Hello and welcome to another episode of The Grindbin. I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
Today we're going to be talking about 1974's Policewomen.
Light him up!
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the team. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
This book ain't got no real poetry.
Hello, pizza man.
We're gonna play a little game, baby.
I just love fun and games. Get a little girl a little hot and horny.
You could have been decent once in a while. And maybe Daddy would decide to kill himself because he couldn't get it up anymore.
What a shame.
Come on, just step on the gas before we get creepy.
If you've never listened to this show before, Chris and I discuss exploitation films from the 1970s through the 1990s. And we've noticed a lot of new listeners lately. The last episode we did on Chesty Anderson was our largest episode ever for some reason. We can't really figure out why everybody was so interested in one of the most obscure, if not the most obscure movie we've ever covered on this podcast.
I think somebody fell asleep with a nervous tick and kept hitting the download button.
It could be. But if you're a new listener to this show, we'd love to hear from you and find out where you found us. You can find us on grindhousefilm.com. There's a couple people that go over there and comment on the message boards or the comment section of each post we do for each episode. Or you can email us directly at grindbin@gmail.com.
With the subject, Chesty is bestie.
Yeah, or you can tweet at us with that hashtag, Chesty is bestie, hashtag Chesty is bestie, and let us know where you found the show. We'd love to hear from you.
Lovely.
So, Chris, you're back from your mini tour.
Yes.
You played the Riot Fest two weekends.
Yes, both Denver and Chicago. Wonderful.
Nice. And you played with, this is a pretty big show because it was the reunion of the original Misfits.
Yes, I was thrilled that this is one of those career culminating events where you might as well just jump off a bridge after it happens. Because it's all downhill after this for me. There's really nowhere to go. I have nothing to look forward to after this, to be honest. Well, besides doing the show. But that, might as well burn my guitar, cut off my hands, call it a day, hang up the jersey, what have you.
So I saw a picture with you and Jerry from the Misfits.
Yeah, I have two quick stories.
Let's hear
to
them.
regale you with.
And if you like Chris's stories, as always, hashtag call me Tex. And if you want to know where that's from, check out our Thrashing episode where you'll get the full story of how Chris was almost raped in a van.
Maybe that's why that episode's seen a spike in listenership. They want to hear about that story and that story alone. It's everyone going, I don't know, where's this fucking story, man? I don't want to hear where's the rape. Who knows?
Could be.
So, we'll turn back. I literally just got back from there. So this will, for me, will be, 2 days ago. But this was the day the Misfits played. We also played earlier in the day. And so it was really thrilling to see the stage markers for the monitors. Like where I was standing, it says like Jerry monitor and like Glenn monitor and Doyle monitor. So that was really exciting to see in the back line and see all their stage set up, like the giant pumpkins backstage. So later in the day, we played. And then later in the day, I'm looking around backstage. I had to handle like some business with the ride transport, but I'm walking back and there's Dee Snider, so I got a picture with that guy, and then I'm walking back to...
You know, my grandpa once met Dee Snider at a salad bar.
Really?
My grandpa used to be the president of Kramer Guitars.
Yes.
And I think at one point they were courting Dee Snider, and he met him once at a salad bar. Tried to strike up a conversation with him.
No, did they track down Dee Snider to that salad bar? It's like, he's over there. Close in, move in.
I'm not sure. I mean, I know the one big guy they had playing for them was Johnny Cash. Towards the end of Johnny Cash's career, he played for Kramer Guitars, and Grandpa had met him and had like a guitar signed by him and everything. I'm
glad you mentioned that. I remember you telling that story. That's really cool. So Dee Snider, and I'm walking down the band. Was
he at the salad bar, or
no? He's
getting that baby corn.
No, he was at the Toppins bar for a Sunday. No, I was walking back down the band walkway to the band's backstage area to the main stages, so I can get back out there and see my friends. And to my right, behind the main stage, is like this kind of older looking RV trailer, and there's a large group of people kind of amassed near it, and they're all wearing black and they're all wearing Misfit shirts. I'm like, oh, this is gonna be good. And sure enough, there's Jerry Only, and he's got the eye makeup on and the he's doing the shirtless and the pants and the whole cool get up. You know, he's taking pictures with like families and young kids. I'm like, well, that's class act. That's cool. And crawling all over his RV, I thought were like fans, but no, it's the road crew. And I'm trying to figure out what the hell is going on here. And they're all trying to like unlock doors and like banging on stuff and literally like almost trying to unscrew the thing, and to no avail. So I'm trying to get Jerry's attention as politely as possible.
Mr. Only?
Literally, I did say Mr. Only, like in the most timid voice ever, and hoping to score a photo or like a handshake or nothing. So he's like, you know, doing this thing, and for some reason he walks away from me and picks up this long metal pipe for chain link fences that you use to hold them together. You plant on the ground. He picks up one of these from a pile, and I'm standing about 3 feet away from his RV door. And he takes this thing, starts walking towards the trailer with more ferocity and speed, and takes this pole like a javelin and thrusts it through the window. And I am now showered in an explosion of shards of glass all over my face, my hair, everything. Everyone's just like, holy shit! And he just looks over and he goes, don't tow the insurance. Like, all right, that was the most rock and roll thing that's ever happened. And so I go up to him, shake his hand, I say that was awesome, and I go, Mr. Only, can I get a picture? And he goes, yeah, sure. And so we get the picture, and while we're taking it, I'm trying to get the thing ready, and the guy that's inside the RV trying to get stuff ready goes, hey, Jerry, and starts talking, and Jerry sternly leans over and yells at this guy. He goes, wait! And I'm like, whoa, this is like really taking time for his fans, and I really respected and appreciated that. So we get the picture, and I'm walking away, and I found out why they were trying to break in to his RV. I guess they had locked the keys in, and the only reason why he needed to get in there so badly is because his dumbbells were in there, and they're about to go on in about 40 minutes. So we need to get his workout on.
Pump some iron, huh?
Yeah. So I got the picture.
Jeez.
Got a pretty rock and roll story out of that. Second quick story. So my friend Joey and I, we somehow got, I don't want to say the word stuck, because it was a joy to see Rob Zombie from the side of the stage with like 5 other people, because it was lockdown. What's this going on? Misfits, lockdown. Rob Zombie, lockdown. We just happened to be at the right place at the right time with our wristbands. We weren't allowed back there, but we were still back there. So I saw Rob Zombie, and then after we finished, our other guitar player, Brad, is back there, and we're like, oh, of course you're here. We're all trying to get backstage somehow to see the Misfits on the other stage. So there's 2 stages here, folks. Now the 3 of us are concocting the scheme, leaning against the wall like it's fucking Ocean's 11, deciding how we're going to break in to this stage area. And I jokingly, Brad's like spying the area out and sees everyone's getting checked. They're fencing off this area. It is like Alcatraz at this point. It is the impossible mission. And I just jokingly look over the side. I'm like, so what we're going to do is, boys, we're going to crawl into the stage and pop out during the set. And Brad kind of looks up and goes, I got an idea. and this kind of steals into the night. And I look over, and there he goes crawling under the stage of Rob Zombie, which is about 15 feet through scaffolding, which is also the Misfit stage. So he goes crawling. I'm like, okay, the only way this is going to work is if we split up. So I'll go my way. Joey goes his way. Joey also does a podcast called Dispatches from the Underground. We had an episode with him where we did a crossover one. He's a really cool guy. Check it out, Dispatches from the Underground. So he was there with me too. So we decide this is the plan we're going to have to do. So I go my way first, and I am now on my chest, crawling through like, some drill, and there's like, I'm taking enemy fire. And I had picked up 2 rolls of duct tape with me to take in case I get stopped. I look official. So I'm crawling through, climbing.
I'm
and
here with Mr. Danzig's duct tape. No
actually,
worries.
You're stealing the words from my mouth.
Oh, no.
Because when I got to the midway area, there's a midway where people that have passes can watch from between the 2 stages. So I get out, and I'm like, look to my left, and there's all these people getting stopped at the gate. And I'm like, fuck, I made it. I'm past the gate. So I get up, and I start kind of prancing towards the minimum, like, here I am, I made it. And this guy stops me and puts a flashlight on my face, and he goes, where are you fucking going? And he's got the Misfits crew shirt on, the 138 crew, flashlight on my face. And I go, Mr. Danzig needs his tape, step aside. And he takes the tape from me, and he goes, thanks, and points me in the other direction. Now we go that way.
Oh.
Gosh, shit. So I meet up with Joey and the rest of our band. And Brad's already be seeing him, like, who knows what happened to him. So I'm watching the Misfits now from the outside, and I'm like at least 100 yards away now. I'm sorry, I'm at least 8 football fields away from the stage, which is fine because I saw them in Denver in the shit. I was in the fucking shit. Wonderful show. So this time I'm watching and I get a text from Brad. He's probably saying, hey, where are you at? I didn't make it. So I get a text from Brad and it is a photo. And the photo is of Jerry Only about 5 feet away on stage, monitors, looking down. And I just text back to him, you know what? I'm not even going to question it. And he texts back, you wouldn't believe me if I told you. So I'm just laughing it off. And so I get back to our trailer after the show, and I see him, and I'm just laughing like, I don't even want to hear it. I'm sickened and delighted that you were able to get that. So he just tells a story, and he says, yeah, so I took your idea. I went crawling under the stages, and I had to wait. And Brad, he wears all black all the time. And it's perfect because he also has worked road crews before. He's roadie for all kinds of bands. So he has the swagger. He has the demeanor.
He knows what to do.
He knows what to do. He knows how to look. He's basically saying, like, you know, you got to look like you hate your job. Just look like, fuck, I can't wait till the next fucking band is over. Get the fuck out of here. Basically like the, I'm working here kind of walk. That's swagger. And so he pretty much did that through every form of security that was there. And also crawled through the scaffolding. And so he waited before the median for the blackout, which was the smartest thing anyone could have done. So when it's dark, make your move. So he darts through and is crawling around on the ground and makes it. He is now underneath the stage of the Misfits, and he is looking up the stage and he sees Fat Mike, owner of the label NoFX, and his wife, and he reaches up and grabs him by the leg and it's like startles him like, what the fuck are you doing down there? And it's like, yeah, I saw Fat Mike's testicle from below the stage, and there's like this opening down there. And so he's like, Mike's like, yeah, just, you know, wait till it's dark, wait for the blackout. That way, no one's be looking for anybody. Everyone will be where they need to be. Cool. So it goes dark, and the show is starting. So then, in his words, he quote shimmied up this hole in the stage. So now there's this man shimmying up this stage, and now he is popping up in front of like the stage signage and pumpkin patch of the Misfits, crawling to the stage, fog machine, lights going. There's this man looking like he's part of the show, like it's the living dead, crawling out of the ground. And kind of like, oh, hey, like, hey, boys, and just kind of
give me that cord over there, you know. Gotta plug that in.
Yeah, and just kind of makes his way towards Mike, and they enjoyed the show from there. And I was dying when he told me.
Holy shit!
Because only him. Oh, Brad can pop up in so many places because he was telling me, because when Morrissey played, there was obviously lockdown. And so I see him after the show because we're going to practice, and he goes, Mr. Man, check this out. I'm like, okay. And he shows me a picture, of course, from the drummer's perspective of Morrissey on stage. I'm like, I'm not even going to ask.
Wow.
I'm not even, in his words, he uses the Jedi mind trick on him every time. And I joke that I'm going to look in some old U.S. history book, and there will be him at the Gettysburg Address for some reason, and I won't question it. And there's him with Kennedy while he makes a speech about going to the moon. So those were my...
So it sounds like a good show.
It was a great tour. Yeah, a great mini tour. So Riot Fest, anyone who was there, thank you. Had a great time. Hopefully we'll be doing that again.
So before we get into the movie today, just have a few grind business things to take care of. First of all, last episode we mentioned the Hanna-Barbera Laugh Olympics.
Oh, yeah.
And I got some flack from some listeners saying that was a staple of their childhoods. And that it was actually very entertaining. And we shouldn't have laughed at the Laugh Olympics.
Was that somebody from Australia?
No. This was our friend Chuck and our friend Sean.
Yes.
And Sean also gave us some information for the Miami Connection episode, which we put into our Fight for Life episode, which you'll never hear at this point because we've decided not to release it.
It's now a Grindbin nasty, if you will. You can't let it be heard.
I mentioned it there, but I'll mention it here. He goes through, if you can read the comments or you can go to the website, he explains the differences. I unknowledgeably called them Uzis, but they are not Uzis. There's a big difference, and he goes through the weight of the guns and all sorts of very interesting things to show you just how naive Chris and I are when it comes to firearms and movies and real life.
Just reality in general.
And the last thing is from our friend from Australia, David.
David, we love you.
Please, everybody, if you can, check this out on the Lunchwagon episode on the website. Go to the Lunchwagon page on the website, and he has posted a video of what we discussed in that movie as the lunch wagon parade.
I haven't seen this either.
Believe it or not, this exists, and I just wrote back to him when he sent this to me and said, I wish this was buried like this fucking movie was, because that was horrible.
For those that don't know, Mayor Tom Bradley, was it, declared Lunch Wagon Day.
Yes. Well, in the video, I'll just go through it because I watched the whole video.
Right.
And thank you for sending it, David. And it was very entertaining, by the way. There's a part where it shows Mayor Bradley, and he looks like he could be... he couldn't be less enthusiastic. They're like... The film producer is standing next to him holding this plaque that says Lunch Wagon Day, and Mayor Bradley just goes, and I'd like to announce today is... oh, yeah, so it's a Lunch Wagon Day. So, yeah. And that was it. They just cut. And then they stupidly had a line of some, I don't know, 80-something lunch wagons blocking a whole lane in Hollywood Boulevard. And most of the people are just honking in annoyance at them fucking creating more traffic on that street where there literally could not be more traffic on Hollywood Boulevard, but they fucking did it anyways and parked all these goddamn lunch wagons there.
You people think you run this town.
The only other thing is one of the writers like goes, oh, I'm going to go buy a ticket to go see Lunch Wagon. And he like walks up to the theater and he's like, oh, we've been waiting in line for hours. And then he gets up to the window and they're like, we're sold out. And he's like, yeah, to the camera, you know, like, yeah, it's a hit. Lunch Wagon was a hit, though. It was the largest grossing independent movie of 1981, I believe, which is a real shame. You should listen to Lunch Wagon episode if you want to hear our full thoughts about it. But here's the last thing I'm going to say about the Lunch Wagon parade video. It is posted on YouTube on Terry Frankel, the writer of that movie's, one of the 3 writers of that movie's actual real YouTube page. She posted it herself.
Oh.
And describes it in the comment as Lunch Wagon Parade, quote, the lost tape. So I guess if they ever make a DVD, they'll have one special feature they can throw on there.
By the time it comes out on DVD, the format will have been dead for like 50 years, I'm sure.
You know, I do have to say, though, I would suggest watching it just for the curiosity factor of how fucking weird.
Yeah.
I don't know why they filmed it. I don't know why they filmed it.
Yeah, it's an exercise in patience alone.
I could do a whole podcast about that Lunch Wagon Parade video, so we're not going to get too much into it. Yeah. So the movie today, Policewomen. Women. As one word, Policewomen, yet it stars only one woman. Now you're probably wondering why it's called Policewomen then. Well, I'd say Policewomen, 1974, Crown International picture. So good to be back on the Crown train. In the Crown bin, if you will.
Crown bin.
Not to be confused with the TV show Policewoman, starring Angie Dickinson, which aired from 1974 to 1978. Now, this next fact is from Wikipedia, but I would tend to believe it is true. It's not cited, however, it does sound very, very true. Despite the fact that the story actually features only one female police officer, the film's title was pluralized and formed into one word because the title Policewoman was already in use by an NBC TV series whose pilot was scheduled to premiere 1 month after this film's release. Now, that show has no relation whatsoever to this movie, but there are many people online who write, I thought I was getting the pilot of Policewoman, and I got this movie instead.
That's a long-ass pilot.
Yeah, they're just like, oh, where's Angie Dickinson? So, though this is a Crown International picture, we are securely back in the world of Crown. And I would say that this movie reminds me of another Crown movie we've covered on this podcast quite a bit, which is Super Chick.
Yes.
Which was just a few years before this movie. And it has a big connection to Super Chick, actually. 2 big connections, actually. We'll get into that. I would say, though, comparative to Super Chick, this movie's production values are about 1,000% better.
Yes.
There's no erratic zooms.
I couldn't spot one boom mic the whole time.
No boom mics. Yeah. And I thought the camera work, for the most part, was kind of great.
Yeah.
For a lot of it, it was kind of cool. They had a lot of weird, like, POV and shaky cam stuff, but it was, like, done effectively. So
I can't say the same for the edits for the punches and the fight scenes, but...
they tried.
Yeah.
So the tagline for this movie I thought was hilarious is, before there was James Bond, there was Lacey Bond. And I wrote, except James Bond had been around a lot longer, unless they are saying that this movie has somehow taken place in the past, which it does not. So, I'm not sure why they threw that on the poster.
Retroactively laying claim.
But I do have to say that this movie has one of the coolest posters I've ever seen.
Mm-hmm.
I think the artwork for it is awesome.
Oh,
And
it's great.
You'll definitely see it on our Twitter posts and the Facebook and on the website.
Yeah.
I really, really like it, though.
I'm sure the promotion for this film was just amazing when it came out. Like the posters, the
If I saw
advertising.
that poster, I would have seen it.
Yeah.
It looks awesome.
Yeah. If I saw the
It's
trailer.
like Lacey Bond just holding up this gun, like pointing it at you almost.
Yeah.
In this cool black and white, and the way Policewomen's on there, it looks
beautiful.
awesome. So the last little bit of research I have is, I noticed that there's a 90-minute cut of this movie. You and I watched it on a DVD box set. I own a lot of Crown box sets because you got to buy a bunch of sets to get all the movies, and then at one point I bought a whole nother set with all of them on it. So I own like 5 copies of each Crown movie. But the version I have is 99 minutes long. There's an hour and 39 minutes, which I'm sure is the same version you had because you watched it on DVD.
Yeah.
Now, you didn't watch it on Amazon, right?
No.
Okay. If you can, watch this movie on DVD, because the Amazon version not only is in full screen and really shitty quality, but it's only an hour and 17 minutes. They've cut out a ton of the movie.
And I'm itching to know what they cut out.
I have no idea. I
Oh.
did not go through and watch the Amazon version to find out what they cut out. But very odd.
I have some ideas, but we'll get to them when we get to them in this film.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Because I didn't really think there was anything that offensive other than some
Shower
lines.
scenes and some... that's what I'm thinking it was. I'm thinking it was one of those modified from its original content, viewer discretion version.
Yeah, maybe like a TV version of the movie or
Yeah.
something, but very odd. But if you can, get a hold of... one of these sets that will have it in there is very cheap. You can get 20 Crown movies in one box set for, $10. And let me tell you, it is worth it because... we love Crown International around here.
Oh, heavy weighs the Crown, but is worth its weight in gold.
But I would definitely recommend that version. If you're watching it on Amazon and you... just let us know if we mention a scene that's definitely not in the Amazon version, because I would like to know what was cut out of it. But with all the work we do in this podcast, I do not have time to just sit down and watch Policewomen for the 3rd time. So I get in the crew here. Lee Frost, the writer and director of this movie, very prolific exploitation director and writer. Started in 1962 with Surftide 77 and House on Bear Mountain. Now, Bear is spelled B-A-R-E. So you can know what type of movies he was making.
Did he make House on Bear Mountain 2 Bareback Mountain?
I only wish, Chris. He then went on to make some Mondo documentaries in the vein of Cannibal Holocaust and movies such as that. 1963, Hollywood's World of Flesh. 1966, Mondo Bizarro. And 1966, Mondo Fuedo. He then directed a crime film, 1968, The Pickup, not to be confused with a Crown film called Pickup from 1975. It's not the same movie I thought it was. It is not. Directed 2 westerns, 1968, Hot Spur, and 1969, The Scavengers. And he even went into the Nazi exploitation genre. Now, this is interesting. 1969, Love Camp 7, which was made before Ilsa, She-Wolf of the SS, and is widely regarded as one of the inspirations for that movie.
Oh, no kidding.
Which we will be covering at some point.
Yes.
Boy, that'll be an interesting episode, because that movie and that whole subgenre,
Yeah.
if you have no idea, at one point during the 70s, they thought it was a good idea to use, Nazis as, caricatures for exploitation movies,
Right.
and it's just oh, well, what if POW camps were full of, sex experiments? And some, I guess, deranged audiences loved it because they made dozens of these fucking things.
Yeah.
And when I found out that this was a genre during my studies and finding all these films, I was just like, what the fuck is wrong with people? What's wrong with you? And they've only made, I don't know, it's something like 6 or 7 Ilsa movies, by the way.
Yeah, only 6 or 7.
He was also known for adding sex scenes into foreign films and then releasing them domestically, which was a big thing during this time, as exploitation movies weren't always original creations, because they were like, well, we need to stuff as many movies as we can into as many seedy theaters as possible and do double features, triple features, whatever we can to get content in there.
Get those floors sticky by any means necessary.
Yeah, so they would take foreign films and like dub them in English and like make different stories for them and cut in sex scenes to like make them completely different movies. So 3 of the ones he did that to were 1965 London in the Raw, 1964 Night Women, and 1970 Witchcraft 70. Most of his movies in the 60s were made for the infamous Bob Crease, who was a big exploitation film producer. He was known for those sex-type films, those re-editing stuff, as well as creating his own. He made a lot of drive-in fare during the 70s, including this movie, Policewomen. One of his biggest hits before this was a big Crown International classic, 1971's Chain Gang Women, which we might cover at some point. After Policewomen, he went on to direct a very, very popular blaxploitation movie, 1975's The Black Gestapo. He went on to become an editor in the 80s and 90s and directed one last movie in 1995, Private Obsession, which was a straight-to-video movie. He passed away in 2007 at the age of 71. 2 quotes from him before we move on to the next person. I thought these were interesting. I wasn't interested in what people thought of the films. I was just looking for another project. Let's get another script. Let's shoot again. If we made any money on it, fine. If we didn't, fine. I was never into the business end of it.
I can't tell if he was even into the art end of it with that quote.
He was just churning them out. And then here you go. On why he stopped making movies in the mid-1990s, and this is very interesting for our exploration of this whole podcast and why these movies were even made and why they stopped at some point. He says, "Let me explain the world to you. It's changed. We're not the same people we used to be, and it's not the same industry it used to be. We were making little movies, grinding them out, and putting them on the screen. Well, you can't put them on the screen anymore, so there's no reason to make little movies anymore. Where are you going to play them? I could have made porno movies, but I didn't want to do that, so I just stopped, as did most of us." And I think that's like, when we think about like, well, how did Rome fall, you know? I mean, there's no one answer that you can just point to be like, oh, well, that was the end of it, you know? Just one day they packed it up and ended an entire empire. I would say, in a weird way, it's the same thing when it comes to exploitation films and drive-in fare, is that just one day the market wasn't there anymore.
Yeah, with like anything in culture.
Crown made movies into the 90s, and then all of a sudden they just didn't make them anymore.
Right.
There was no more place for them. With VHS being so prevalent, direct-to-video movies were just a different type of market. Yeah. They didn't have the same production values, believe it or not. Production values of a Crown movie.
Yeah.
These are just, I guess, slightly above what you would see in the direct-to-video, because these actually had scores instead of just synthesizers, you know, and music loops and really, really, really low-budget movies.
Oh, yeah, exactly.
The smaller budget indie film appealing to these weird, bizarre subgenres.
It was just meant to be seen once. It wasn't meant to be taken home and enjoyed over and over again. It was meant to be, you were almost tricked into seeing it by the advertising and the marketing of it. And then after that, it was like, the studio's like, well, we got your fucking money now.
Yeah. Well, that's why they would cut those foreign films with sex scenes.
Yeah.
They're like, yeah, you paid for this shit? Good. Do you like it? We don't give a fuck. You'll come to the next one. So we go to Wes Bishop, who's the other writer of this movie with Lee Frost, was a frequent collaborator with him. He wrote some movies with him. 1968, he wrote The Pickup with him. 1969, Love Camp 7. 1971, Chain Gang Women. This movie, and 1975, The Black Gestapo. He wrote all of those, co-wrote them with Lee Frost. He also had quite a few acting parts, and he is actually in this movie. He plays the character of Raymond.
Okay.
And he also produced this movie. So he was behind the scenes, in front of the scenes, wherever you needed him to be. So we'll get into the cast now. Sandra Curry, who plays Lacey Bond, 81 acting credits, Lots and lots and lots of TV roles. Policewomen was her first starring role in a movie, but she acted in tons of TV roles after this and some exploitation movies as well. I'm going to give you a few. 1974, Mama's Dirty Girls. 1975, Teenage Seductress. 1975, Jesse's Girls. 1975, she was on an episode of Policewoman, which is kind of weird.
Oh, that's weird.
She did not play the character of Lacey Bond, though. Just completely
That would have been
different
a really
character.
cool
I know.
crossover.
Come on. 1975, Fugitive Lovers. 1980, The Last Married Couple in America. 1982, The Concrete Jungle. And 1986, The Education of Allison Tate. However, that is not where her career ends, because she went on to be in a lot of TV, and most recently is most well known, and probably in her whole career, as being in all 3 of the Hangover movies.
What
as
is she
the
playing?
character Linda, who's, I guess, one of the bride's mom.
Yeah, I think so. Huh. Wow. Cool.
So she's still around, still acting.
I'll have to go back and not watch those movies to see if I can find her.
Tony Young, who plays Frank Mitchell. Now our audience is very familiar with Tony Young because he was Johnny in Super Chick.
Ah, that's right.
Don't tell me you didn't notice that.
I did notice that. I knew he was familiar. I'm like, you know what? This is a Crown movie. He's been in one of these. I know he's familiar. I know it's either Super Chick or one of the other ones.
We discussed his background on that episode, but he had a good career. He was in a lot of TV, westerns, exploitation movies in the 70s. He passed away in 2002 at the age of 64. If you want to hear more about Tony's background, just check out our Super Chick episode. Phil Hoover, who plays Doc in this movie. Now, I mentioned him last week because he is also in Chesty Anderson, U.S. Navy. As remember I said, when that goon shows up, who's also in Super Chick, well, he's also in Super Chick.
Yep.
He's in a lot of movies as just the goon. This is like one of the few movies he has a lot of speaking lines in. And I never noticed in the other movies that he was like missing teeth, but he certainly is in this movie.
Yeah.
But he was also in a couple other movies made by Lee Frost, including Black Gestapo. Elizabeth Stewart, who plays Maud. Now, this is interesting to me. Her only credit.
That's it?
Yeah. Never in anything else.
'Cause
And
she
I was
was
like,
great.
she's so good.
Yeah.
I can't believe she only acted in one
Because
thing.
I thought like, she looked remarkably familiar, and I
To
almost
me, too.
Yeah, because I almost thought she was the one of the antagonists in Goonies. I thought that was her at first. I was like,
You know, I think maybe this is a case of her using a different name. Maybe Elizabeth Stewart is not really her name, and maybe she goes by an alias. However, this is the only credit I could find for her. Jeannie Bell, who plays Pam in this movie, 23 acting credits. She started her career as Sugar Jean Bell on the Beverly Hillbillies. She was in a lot of episodes of that. She went on to be in a couple blaxploitation movies after that. 1972, Melinda. 1972, Trouble Man. 1972, Black Gun. 1973, she was in Cleopatra Jones. She went on to have a nice role in Martin Scorsese's Mean Streets, 1973.
Nice.
One of the top billed cast members of that movie,
oh,
actually.
good for her.
Then she went on after that to do 1974 Policewomen. 1974 TNT Jackson. 1974 Three the Hard Way. She was also on an episode of Policewoman, but she didn't play the character of Pam. Totally different character. She had a major role in D'Urville Martin's Disco 9000, 1977. D'Urville Martin is the director and writer of Dolomite. He also plays Willie Green in that.
Yeah.
Her last credit was in 1977's Choir Boys, which was a big movie that had Charles Durning, Lou Gossett Jr., Randy Quaid, and James Woods. But then she quit acting when she married millionaire Gary Judas after 8 years of courtship. Last credit I'm going to talk about. There are some other actors in this movie, but I'm trying to cut down the length of these episodes just a tad because we just keep going over 2 hours, and I'm really, really, really trying to get them under 2 hours.
Yeah.
William Smith, who plays the karate instructor, barely in this movie, right? 271 acting credits, including some big movies.
Oh,
Just to name a few,
Lay it on me.
1980, Any Which Way You Can, a Clint Eastwood movie. As Jack Wilson, he's like third build in that movie. 1982, Conan the Barbarian.
No,
He
really?
plays Conan's father. I didn't even know he had
you
a
gotta
dad.
be kidding me.
I didn't know he had a dad in that movie.
Come on.
How does he play Arnold's dad? Like,
Who is it, Daddy?
He looks nothing like
I
him.
know. It's ridiculous.
1983, he was
Milkman.
in The Outsiders, which was another.
He was in The Outsiders?
Yeah. He was in tons and tons and tons of B movies. He's still acting. His latest credit, 2014's Island of the Witches. So that's all I have for the background of this movie. Before we get into it, let's take a listen to the trailer for Policewomen.
This girl is a cop.
The policewomen, tough enough for any man.
Would you gentlemen like me to run through it again?
Listen, sweetie, I'm gonna take it real easy on you.
Okay, let's get it on.
You boys better get her on the case before she kills one of our own.
The policewomen, fighting for survival with men who want them home and women who want them dead.
We run a tight outfit here. The girls who work for me got the balls to handle anything that comes their way.
The policewomen, caught in the middle of the most daring caper since the French Connection.
Looks like you're on your own, sweetheart.
And that's just the way I like it.
When you're a cop, there's no such thing as the weaker sex.
I cannot tell you what a head trip it is to want to go to bed with a trained killer.
I'll make love to you, and I promise to be gentle.
Don't miss The Policewomen. A motion picture that takes you on a roller coaster ride of hard-hitting violence and soft curves. The Policewomen.
Now, I would definitely recommend going to watch that trailer because it ends with one of the most bizarre freeze frames on Lacey Bond's face.
Yeah, it's like when you accidentally sit on the remote and pause your DVR on a scene, and you're like, whoa, someone hit the remote.
And some of the shots they chose were just some of the most random scenes in this whole movie.
Maybe they didn't want to give away too much of the story. Who knows?
Which, by the way,
Yeah.
a Crown movie that has a full
Oh my God.
3-act motherfucking structure.
Yeah.
Believe it or not, there is a second act twist in this movie. I was like, Crown, 1972, you didn't take notes from this? 1974, you didn't take notes from this fucking movie? It was all right there in front of you, how to make a movie with a story. But somehow they overlooked this gem and kept moving on and churning out plotless messes for another decade. So we start on a jail. Lacey Bond walks in and she's checking in a prisoner. She brings her down to this big holding cell with a bunch of women in it. And for some reason, this is where the whole controversy starts in this movie, is Lacey is going to put this prisoner in this cell, and there's, what did you say, maybe a dozen or so other prisoners in
Yeah,
this cell?
she's on her own.
Okay, what does she do, Chris, when she decides to put this lady in the cell?
Do they even like search her first?
Okay, they don't search her at all, and they open the cell door and then start removing her handcuffs while the cell door is just swung open, and the other prisoners just go, oh, the door's open, and they run for it and do this whole prison break. And I'm just like, okay, whoa.
Yeah, they do no kind of protocol.
No.
Protocol.
This movie should have started with Lacey Bond being fired.
Yeah.
Because she left the fucking door open.
Yeah.
Like, you don't leave the cell door open.
Yeah.
All the prisoners just run out because they're like, oh, get out of jail free. Great. And, usually when you see it, they'll have a prisoner go in the cell, put their hands through the slot, and then remove the handcuffs. No. In this movie, there's two policewomen that swing open the door, and then they're like looking around for a key, and they're like, oh, how do you get these off? And
Again, research be damned. If we didn't see it in Chesty Anderson U.S. Navy, let's not research how we do prisons.
So, yeah, seriously. And this scene, this whole movie starts out with Lacey fucking up. And everything that's about to happen is sort of her fault.
Yeah, even though she's regaled as like the most awesome,
she fucks up.
Yeah.
Big time. Like, fireable offense, really. So, anyway, all the women start breaking out, but Lacey single-handedly stops a lot of them by just standing in the hallway, and they run at her, and then she, like, lays a kick into them or a punch.
And how come none of the other officers have this training? If she's, like, the only one holding her own, it seems like.
Well, it's another movie, just like in Super Chick, where he said there's multiple parallels. She's a big karate expert, which it's something about Crown and karate. They are just fucking obsessed with women knowing karate. I don't know if that karate in the early 70s was just some like worldwide phenomenon or something like that, but we keep finding it in these movies, and it's very odd. Mm-hmm. All through the 70s, everything is karate this, karate that, somebody's a karate master, and it's usually women. So if you know anything about this, please let us know. Is Crown just obsessed with karate, or was this really just a big thing at the time?
Yeah, please hashtag Crown Roddy.
I do like this, though. So while she's fighting all these prisoners while they're breaking out, some are running around the jail and just going into rooms. One of them gets so scared of Lacey that she runs back into the cell and just shuts the door.
That would have been me.
So two of these prisoners, they get into this room and they're like devising some plan to get out, and one of them has a gun, and well, there's three of them actually. So three of them are in that room. There's a black prisoner and these two white girls, and she's like, "Oh yeah, we got all these things," and like she pulls out what I thought was going to be like guard uniforms.
Yeah,
and
but it's like repelling gear, right?
Yeah, they dress all in black. I'm like, why even get changed?
Yeah.
It's
like broad fucking daylight.
Like, did you really need to wear black jeans and a black turtleneck? Like, there's no fucking, like, you still look crazy.
Yeah. Well, I mean, to their defense, I mean, after they did get out, well, no, they could have gotten clothes anywhere else, I guess.
I can't even wait to see when they got out and when they show up again.
Yeah.
We're blowing the story. They get out, but anyway. They're like changing this laundry room, and a bunch of these cops are standing outside. You remember this? And
yeah.
They're like, "Oh, how are we gonna get in there? They're in there. There's prisoners in there." And it's like, okay, well, first of all, this is a jail. Just fucking storm in. They don't have
lock a door. Jesus.
To your knowledge, they don't have any fucking weapons. They're prisoners in the laundry room.
Yeah.
What? But instead, these girls somehow throw a grenade out. A fucking grenade, and it explodes in the hallway, and people are like, ah. Nobody's hurt, mind you.
It was more like a high-powered smoke bomb.
Yeah.
That goes. It was like one of those Alakazam, like magician props that goes off. like ta-da!
Yeah, because there's a lady who goes and then runs out of the hallway, and the explosion happens right behind her. I'm like, oh, she would be dead.
Yeah, there would be blood everywhere. Bodies mangled, limbs here and there.
But then they start throwing out tear gas, and I just wrote in my notes at this point, why would a jail even have a grenade? Seems like a real odd thing to keep in the laundry room. So anyways, these girls, they break out, they run all the way to the roof.
Those stains, man, you gotta get them out.
So these three girls, they run up to the roof, and like all the cops are just like like dying on the ground from this tear gas. And then these prisoners start rappelling down the wall of the jail, and Lacey somehow gets out of this tear gas and runs up the stairs after them. And I wrote, it doesn't help her running that she wears high heels, because she's running upstairs and like running on the roof and everything, and she's got like, 6-inch heels.
Yeah, it's ridiculous.
But she manages to stop one prisoner, and I that's when I wrote in my notes, before we go on, I can't help but point out that this is literally all Lacey's fault. Why would you leave the door to a holding cell open if you're going to uncuff a prisoner? This whole movie has started on our main character, our protagonist, creating one of the biggest fuck-up jailbreaks I've ever seen in anything.
It's interesting. What's interesting is this is so planned on the prisoners' behalf, because they have all these things stored. So were how long have they been like waiting, like watching her like fuck up?
Yeah, okay, so what was their plan? They're like, okay, one day somebody's gonna leave the door open, or they go, oh, that dumb jail guard always leaves the door wide open whenever she brings in a new prisoner. One of these days we're just gonna run out. I don't know. But you're right. A lot hinges on just this randomly happening at some point,
And everything
hopefully nobody finding their repelling suits and grenades.
just happens to be there on this day.
Like, you don't think anybody would search the laundry room stuff for like contraband or anything like that?
Ugh. Yeah. Because you go in there, you kind of trip over like a basket, like a hamper basket, and you trip over a grenade here, I guess.
And somebody be like, "Oh, what's this doing in here?" Yeah, fuck it. I didn't put it in here. Well, it couldn't have been any of the prisoners. How would they get a grenade? Just leave it. So we go to the police station. Lacey is reporting for work. She walks into a detective's office, and this is when we see Johnny from Super Chick is here. Mm-hmm. Some guy asked her, so she walks into this detective's office, and like Johnny from Super Chick, Detective Mitchell, does one of my favorite things that a character will do, is he just like goes and stands by a window and like waits for his cue. So he's like, well, I'm going to stand over here, and when the time sounds right, I'm going to turn my back and say something poignant. Yeah. So we're in this office, and some guy asked her, okay, sexist cop is what I put this guy's name as. I think his name is Peterson, but I just wrote down in my notes a sexist cop. He looks at her and he goes, would you like to take your coat off, honey? And she says, no, thank you. The look on his face is like, look at these broads today, huh? Bet she doesn't even like to be called honey.
Like, is this 1950s? I can't tell.
But the way this guy is like, he is so enraged that a woman is a police officer.
How dare she?
Yeah, because he's like, you want to take your coat off, honey? And then she's like, oh, no, thank you. And he's like, fine, bitch. Like, that's his attitude towards it. It's like, I guess she'd be pissed off if I patted her ass, too.
It's like the guys that get mad after, like, a first date that they don't get a hand job because they held the door open or something.
Well, I bought you dinner. I mean, what the fuck does that buy me today, you know? That's this guy's fucking attitude, man. So anyways, this guy asked her about the jailbreak, like the chief. I'm just going to call him the chief, even though he's not the chief, but he pretends like he is, this guy, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
The black guy is the chief, is what I'm going to say, because I don't know who he is otherwise.
Yeah, it's not really described in his role.
In any other movie, he would just be like the chief. But in this movie, he's like a detective, but then like Peterson's called a lieutenant, and I'm like, well, isn't the lieutenant above a detective?
Yeah.
Yet the detective's bossing him around, so I'm like, he must just be the chief or something.
Well, here's the thing. Here's how I know he's not the chief, is because he's not our favorite character in this film. If you can go back to any film we've covered, the chief is usually our favorite character of any film. Go
Pretty
back to
much, yeah.
Dangerous Men, favorite.
Kinjite,
Favorite.
So the chief guy asks her about the jailbreak and says the department did the best. Okay, she says the department did the best they could under those conditions. And I wrote, no, they didn't. No, you didn't. You should have been fired. Yeah. You did not do the best you could. You let prisoners break out of jail. You let them get into the laundry room. And then you just stood outside the door like, well, what do we do? I mean... fucking go in. It's a jail. Like,
no, I wonder if this probably isn't her her first job. I feel like she's had jobs before this where she's failed miserably. Like, this is like one of the last resorts for her. I feel like maybe before this she was in Super Chick, and she got fired because they're in the middle of a flight, and she goes, it's warm in here, and opens the door of the cabin, and everyone goes flying out.
And they're like, Lacey, we know you did the best you could under that situation.
I mean, it was real hot in there. The AC was out. We know you did the best for our customers.
The chief says, you did a great job. And she single-handedly stopped the riot. I'm like, well, she also started it. By the way, 2 women did break out of the jail, so it's not a success. No. Like, this is a big problem.
I know, that'd be great if they gave her an award after this.
They pretty much do, because this is what happens in this scene.
Yeah, that's a promotion.
He goes, now we know you're a troublemaker. Okay, hold on. So he says, the chief says she did a great job. Then the sexist cop says something about how she's a troublemaker because she applied for all these transfers. And then he says, and I quote, what's that, honey? That jail duty a little too tough for you? Oh my God.
HR.
Like, there's no way in modern day that this type of shit's gonna fly. Like, holy crap. He's called her honey twice within 1 minute. She says she wants to get on the streets, And then Johnny goes, oh, my cue, and he turns around, spins around, and he says something about how his name is, he says some like quip, and then the chief's like, oh, I should introduce this mysterious man who is standing by the window.
Yeah.
This is Detective Mitchell. And he says,
That's my cue.
and then Detective Mitchell goes over and says, you're a pretty young girl and you have a way of dealing with escaping female prisoners. Real high compliments in this room. And basically the scene ends with them saying she's going to get an assignment to go work with Mitchell because they have this gang of women and they think she can go undercover. But first she has to do an obstacle course. And I'm like, what is this fucking...
Like basic training all over again.
Yeah, I was like, what is this fucking physical challenge on Double Dare or some shit? It's like,
guts.
Yeah, before you start, you gotta climb that aggro crag, bitch.
By aggro crag, I mean my dick.
I was just like, what? You're right, because she's already gone through basic training. It's like, well, she wouldn't be a police officer if she couldn't shoot or drive a car.
No, it's like this is done. It's in the can. The test has been completed.
So her first challenge is at the shooting range, and I got a real big fucking problem with this scene.
Yeah.
So I got a couple problems actually. So we cut to her shooting a target, and she's holding like a fucking M4 like machine gun, like military issued combat weapon. Like she's shooting the fucking Viet Cong or something. And she's shooting this target at the end of a range and just shooting it in the neck. All headshots. And I wrote, which I'm sure is not how police are trained to shoot. She shoots the head so many times that it decapitates the cutout and it just falls to the ground. And there's only like a piece of the head hanging left. But the sexist cop does say something about how shooting the body to wound is what they learn. And then the chief's like, yeah, just shut the fuck up. She knows what she's doing. It's like, no, she doesn't. No. No. The one place you don't shoot is the head. You would never train a police officer to shoot somebody in the head. I mean, if you're a police officer and I'm wrong, please correct me. Grindhousefilm.com, twitter.com/grindpod. Please correct me.
Hashtag straight to the dome.
But then she says, okay, so she gets pissed that he says that. And you like this part? She spins around and says, if you want your prisoners alive, Sergeant Peterson, don't give me an automatic rifle. And then throws a fucking loaded gun at him.
This is almost Stallone-esque.
Yeah,
in many ways. It's almost Cobra.
Hey, don't give me a gun, I tell you. You don't want me to shoot the fucking guy, then don't give me a fucking gun. You know what I mean? You like cheese, put my cheese on the bread.
I want to cover Cobra so bad.
Yeah.
It's just one of the best fucking movies I've ever seen.
You ever see a man cut pizza with a scissor? You will.
So we go outside the police station. Lacey's walking with these guy cops, and she says, in a line I really loved, please forgive my female curiosity, but you specifically said that you needed a woman for this assignment. Might I ask why that is? And that's when they explain this whole thing about how there's this group of females running, as they say, capers around town. Female mafia, and they need a woman to infiltrate. Then we go to a driving range where Lacey drives all crazy and impresses the men just by driving fast and braking hard and doing donuts. That's pretty much it.
Yeah, it's just stunt driving.
So we go outside again. Lacey is wearing a gi. Detective Mitchell tells her about this crime ring, and it's located on Catalina Island.
Yeah.
And I wrote, well, that's a horrible place to have a crime ring, because being living in Southern California our whole lives, we live right next to Catalina Island, and I can tell you it is not the place to run a crime ring.
No.
That is a tourist island where barely anybody actually lives on, and it would be really fucking bad to have a crime ring located there because it's definitely easily surrounded.
Yeah, I mean, you could run into a lot of Girl Scouts. I think that's about it.
And I'm like, this is obviously just a place they secured for filming, and they're like, we somehow gotta work in Catalina for this, you know? I'm just, the Catalina Tourism Board was contacted by Crown International and said, like, can you film a movie out here or something?
What do you want? What do you need?
I don't know, crime, boats, yeah, whatever. So the sexist cop says something about them being near a gymnasium and how Lacey loves gymnasiums. And I was just like, what? What the fuck is this guy's problem?
She loves, like my bedroom, if you know what I mean. Ha 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 ha.
Yeah, he literally says to her, he's like, yeah, well, we're close to the gymnasium, and I know how you love gymnasiums.
And here's the gymnasium. I know you love gymnasium.
It's like, okay. Is this a joke we're supposed to know? Or yeah. So we go into this gymnasium, and they call it a gymnasium, not a gym.
Run time.
And there's some karate guy in there, and the sexist cop just tells him, he's like, well, kick this lady's ass, okay? And then he comes over, and he's like, oh, I'll take it easy on you. And so they get in a fight, and like this guy just starts manhandling her at first, and like the sexist cop is just loving it. Every time that she gets punched or kicked or brought to the ground, he's like laughing and just slapping his knees, like, look at her trying to fight. Oh my god.
Woman in the service.
Lady police officers.
What's the matter, honey? Your mascara running?
I was so waiting for the like obligatory like this ain't the kitchen, huh? Would you break a nail? This fight stops, and then Lacey says something to him like, well, you outweigh me, so I really can't compete unless they go at full speed. And he's like, well, I don't want to hurt you. And she's like, he calls her honey and then lightly punches her on the cheek. And this really sets her off. And the sexist cop, of course, quips in and says,
well, what the hell? Maybe the woman she comes up against won't be as big as Bill.
It's like, well, they probably won't. But anyways, Lacey beats him. You remember this scene, Chris, I'm sure.
Yeah. Well, every moment of the scene, like the cuts in which the punches are thrown, everything's like sped up.
Oh yeah.
To like it's almost like comical. At the rate these
it's like at 4 times speed.
Yeah, and it's funny because I can just imagine the Foley booth editor having a field day. I was trying to get like the sounds of that gi wrestling and like the punches right in the feet on the mats just perfectly in line, because it would have been a nightmare to edit. But she does this maneuver where she rolls on her back and he runs at her, and she gets the perfect foot shot into his groin.
Yeah,
and does this like whoo! And kind of just hangs on it like oh, ha 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 ha. Pause for laughter.
And then she still like kicks his ass real bad.
Yeah.
And then eventually he's like bleeding from the mouth. Mm-hmm. And there's this scene that just goes on for way, way, way too long about him being like, oh, she hit me. She broke my tooth. Yeah. And he's all bummed about it.
It's like, we get it. She kicked his ass. You don't need to... Well, I'm sorry. Runtime. Never mind.
This goes on for like 3 minutes of him whining about how she beat him. Maybe that's what they cut out of the director's cut. So then we go to, and I wrote down his science room.
Only reason we know it's a science room because there's a guy with a white lab coat, and that's it.
But anyways, all he does is just give her gadgets like it's fucking James Bond. But here's the thing about the gadgets that he gives her. He gives her like a compact that's a radio. But if you open the compact, it's just a bunch of wires and shit. And I'm like, well, that doesn't hide anything. Because if anybody asks her, like, oh, can I use your mirror?
Yeah.
She's fucked. Yeah. Because it looks like you open it up, it's just like wires fucking flying everywhere, you know?
Oh, are you some kind of robot woman? I don't get it.
And then the other thing he gives her is a lighter, which is just a transmitter. So both of these things are just transmitters. But here's the thing, is he says like, okay, well, to activate this transmitter, all you do is pretend like you're lighting something. And he goes, hopefully nobody asks you to light their cigarette or else about 100 cops will be there. And I wrote, well, that's a fucking stupid invention because it's supposed to look like a lighter.
Yeah.
Make it be a fucking lighter, and then like underneath it has a button.
Yeah.
Making the lighter part of it how it works is stupid. Why give her a lighter then? It's only opening it up for somebody to ask her eventually, can I get a light?
Yeah.
And would she go, no. Actually, I'm out of liquid. No. Yeah. Oh, it doesn't work. I just carry this around for looks.
I like Dick Tracy a lot.
Like, what is this? And this is when I wrote, oh, is this supposed to be like James Bond? Is that why her name is Lacey Bond? This is when I didn't even look up the poster or the tagline yet. I'd seen the poster. So then we go to a stakeout, Mitchell, the sexist cop, and Lacey pull up in their car, and then Mitchell says they are staking out a lady named Maud, who is 70 years old, and she has a boyfriend who is 30, who's working for her. And his name is Doc.
Mm-hmm.
And then Mitchell and the sexist cop do about the fucking stupidest thing I've ever seen a cop do at a stakeout is they go like, oh, well, we're going to go talk to this other car that's sitting up there and tell them they can leave. And they get out of their fucking cars in front of the house.
Yeah.
In the middle of a stakeout.
In the middle of the day.
And they're just like, well, nobody know we're cops, right? And they just walk over to this other car.
And like, what else could you deduce from seeing this if you're like watching to see if you're being staked out?
Swear to God that Mitchell has like a gun like attached to his side. Like he's wearing like a holster with a gun. Obviously he's a cop.
Yeah.
And Lacey even says to him when he gets out of the car, she's like, I don't think that's a good idea, but he does it anyways. But then that lady that Lacey let break out of jail, basically, the one who was standing in the door and she decided to uncuff with the door open, pulls up in a car and she starts driving towards the house that they're staking out, and then Lacey spots her, and then she recognizes Lacey and then drives off, and then we get like this chase scene. Lacey just takes the car and leaves Mitchell and the sexist cop behind and chases after her. We get this car chase through not LA. Like,
oh no.
This is like, I would say it looks like if you've ever been to Lake Elsinore.
Yeah, it does.
It looks like way out, way out. Or like if you go way north of LA, like way past where the Hollywood Bowl and everything is. Like if you keep going like past the valley, it doesn't look anything like where they were. So they go on for a while in this car chase. Nothing really happens. But then I do like this part. The lady criminal gets stuck behind some old couple. So they're on like a 2-lane highway, right? And she's like stuck behind these old people in this red car, and you briefly see the old man just like leaned over the wheel trying to drive, and she's just like trying to pass him and somehow can't for some reason. They're going like 20 miles an hour, and she's like, I don't know. But then that van pulls up, and like for some reason it scares this criminal lady, and she like drives off a cliff, and then the car rolls, and you can clearly see there's no person in it.
No. And that seat really wasn't screwed in all the way in the back.
It looked like they got a car from the dump, and just rolled it down a hill that was already like pre-crushed. You know? And then Lacey like gets out to survey the damage, and the car explodes and catches on fire. We go to later. The coroner is loading up the dead body, and then the sexist cop is all mad at Lacey because she ran off, and they say something about how apparently the trunk had a bunch of heroin in it, and they could have busted her, or she made the delivery, they could have caught her, and this all could have been resolved. And again, Lacey has fucked up twice in this movie, big time. They're like, you literally ruined the one chance we had at getting these people. Like, we had a girl pulling into their house with a trunk full of cocaine. If you would have just fucking stopped her or let us know she was there, we could have had all of this solved. But the chief defends Lacey, and he's like, no, she's the only one who has gumption around here. She's the one doing shit right.
Right.
And then Mitchell backs up Lacey, and he's like, well, yeah, we shouldn't have been standing outside the car. I mean, that was pretty dumb. And then basically the chief says, well, you should go back and do surveillance. But then we go to Maud's compound, which is one of my favorite parts in this movie. So we go into this criminal ring that Maud, the 70-year-old lady, Kingpin, and her boy toy Doc in his 30s run. And we get that cool shot where it's like we watch a car driving into that compound, and it's like a POV from the car, which I thought was really cool. You don't see that in a Crown movie every day. So this lady drives into the compound and delivers the 2 prisoners who broke out of the jail. Okay, and by the way, the 2 prisoners who broke out of the jail who are still wearing what they were when they broke out. And I wrote, how long have they been in that trunk? How many days have passed?
Again, we're not clear on the passage of time in this film.
That jailbreak happened.
Yeah.
I assume the next day Lacey goes into an office, maybe even multiple days later, to where they say, oh, we heard about the jailbreak, you did a good job, we'd like you to do this. She goes through her entire obstacle course, her guts challenge, if you will, and climbs that aggro crag.
Yeah, because there had to have been a full investigation before
Yeah.
Given this.
Then she goes to that stakeout, chases that girl. She dies. The coroner shows up. Then they deliver these prisoners to Maud's place. They must have been in that trunk for days.
Breathing through a hose out like the trunk or something.
Because like they get out of that trunk like, oh, we're finally out. So they go up and they say thanks to Maud. And this is where we learn apparently Maud supplied them with that grenade at the jail.
Yeah.
And the black suits for them. And then, okay, so this might be a part that they cut out. Because all of a sudden this movie takes, which sometimes would happen in Crown movies of the 70s and 80s, a real racist turn.
Yeah.
Where Maud just looks at Pam and says, who's the black?
Who's the black?
I wrote that down too. And this is just the tip of the iceberg of what we're about to get in here.
And she goes like, well, how'd you get a gun? And Pam says it was fake. I made it. And then the other girl she broke out with was like vouching for her. And then Maud immediately offers her a job, which we find out is a running trend in this movie. Maud will offer you a job if some random person in her crew vouches for you without checking out for herself, when maybe she should as the kingpin of this hooker crime ring. But all of a sudden, some Asian lady gets really pissed. She's like just standing back and like staring, right?
Yeah.
And she gets really pissed and she runs up and pushes Pam and she looks at her and she says,
I don't want any blacks around here. Besides, blacks are lazy and they spill their guts when they get caught. Blacks have sore feet and big asses. They shuffle, sing spirituals, they stink. And I don't give a goddamn shit for niggers.
And I just wrote, what the fuck? What is going on? Excuse me?
This is like the most. Oh, it's about to get very multicultural very soon.
Yeah, because then I don't even write down the quotes. She goes on this big racist rant and uses the N-word. Pam just says,
"Why, honey, I don't understand your attitude. I've always said nice things about goose."
And I'm like, okay.
No.
Like, oh my God, man.
I was like, no,
here we go.
Nom is really fresh in people's minds right now in the time of this film. So,
and then a really good fight scene happens.
Yeah.
Like, I'd say that the fight scenes in this movie are pretty cool. They're edited in a way that, like, hides the fact that there's no real punches or kicks thrown. But they're pretty great.
Yeah.
Because this, Pam and this Asian lady fight, and they're, like, throwing each other through tables and shit, and fighting on that lounge chair. And, like, everybody's looking at them, you know?
Yeah. This is definitely a runtime fight, because it does go on for a while.
It goes on for a while.
Yeah.
And then, so eventually Pam wins, and I love the part, like, at the end, she, like, knocks out this Asian girl, and then, like, everybody watches her, and she, like, drags her over to that table Maud was counting all this money on, and, like, picks her head up, and she's gonna, like, bash a bottle over her head.
Yeah.
And Maud's like, all right. You don't need to kill her. And she still only calls Pam Black Girl, by the way. I don't even think she calls her by her name at all in this movie. It basically, she says, enough's enough. And she says something about how, like, Pam looks at her and she says something like, you set that up? And she says, yeah. And I wrote, no.
No.
The only time Maud ever met Pam was when she just got out of that trunk.
Right.
Because the other girl vouched for her and said, like, oh, yeah, this girl broke out of prison with me. She's real great. How would Maud tell this Asian girl in the 1 second that she met her, oh, go attack this black girl and make sure she's one of us? No.
That's not really how it works.
No. Anyways, this is when we first meet Doc. Her young, I don't think husband, I think just boyfriend. This is such like an odd
her
dynamic.
fuckboy, so to speak.
Yeah, so like the lady who runs this crime ring, which I can't even wait to when we have to discuss what exactly this crime ring does, because it's very confusing. And their ultimate plan that they have,
yeah,
or who is supplying them with their gold bullion.
That was out of the budget. They couldn't afford that guy.
But basically, she runs this thing. She's 7 years old with this like 30-year-old guy she's got under her wing. That's also her like boy toy who just works out all the time. And he's like a huge hulking man of like, I would say 7 feet tall.
Yeah. Oh, he's a Well, in her words, a gorilla.
Yeah.
Or an ape.
Basically, she says to Pam, "This is Doc. He keeps everyone straight around here, and nobody touches him but me." And then Maud shows the two girls who broke out of jail their sleeping quarters. And then Doc comes in and tells Maud about how the girl who was supposed to deliver the heroin died. Like the girl that Lacey just chased off a cliff.
Mm-hmm.
And then Doc just starts yelling about how they can't use these, quote, stupid bitches and, quote, cunts and these girls with records to do their dirty work. And Maud says something like, well, who else would they use for drug running except for criminals?
Right.
She even says, she's like, what am I going to do? Get a fucking secretary to run drugs, you dumb shit? Like, who do you...
What am I going to put an ad out?
So, next scene, I do like this. They go to cops in the hotel room. They're on their stakeout. They're watching a TV feed of Maud's front door. So now they're not even in their cars anymore. They've somehow positioned a camera
through like the curtains, I think, right?
Well, the camera shot is just of Maud's front door.
Yeah.
So, do you think they just left a tripod and a camera out there? Like a long wire leading all the way back to the hotel room or something?
I would in this movie, I would love to have seen that.
Because there's no wireless. I mean,
no. Or it's like hidden in like one of those lawn flamingos. Like the lens is the beak.
Like a really prominent lens. I do like this is they're watching this TV and then Lacey walks in and not only is she a police officer, but she's also the housewife because she's made everybody soup and sandwiches. And I wrote, of course. Yeah. Sexist cop gets mad because he's like, well, I want a taco. And she says something about that's why, like something about, well, when I'm around, you're going to eat healthy. Have some soup. And he's like, well, this is why I never got married. And everybody laughs, including her. And then the chief walks in and says something about the case, and it basically ends with Mitchell and Lacey having to go rent a boat and go to Catalina for a fucking vacation. And we go back to the Maud compound, just some girls swimming around in the pool. So every time we go to Maud's compound, she lives in this, like, estate.
Yeah.
With, like, tennis courts and pools and giant hedge mazes, and there's just a bunch of her hooker army just runs around in bikinis and just
they're kind of like, it's like the Playboy Mansion.
It is the Playboy Mansion. It's like if Hugh Hefner was a 70-year-old woman.
You know what? That is exactly true because she's like dating some like 30.
Oh my
something.
God! You're right.
It's a female Hugh Hefner.
This is the Playgirl Mansion.
Yeah.
So Maud's always counting money. And, like, everywhere they go, she's, like, bringing her table of, like, money counting with her. Like, her card table that she counts money.
It's an abacus.
I wish she had one of those, like, visors on, you know? Like, on, like, you'd see in a bookie, you know?
Yeah, just running the numbers, cooking the books.
Oh, and so she's counting money while Doc's lifting weights, and that's when, yeah, she, like, just says something like, oh, you should lift somebody weights, you look like a gorilla.
Yeah.
And then he walks over and he tries to come on to
Said
her.
no woman ever.
Like, Doc walks over and he's like, hey, Maud, how about I go take a shower and you come in and join me? And she says something about how she has a headache and a sore throat.
I laughed at that.
And I wrote, oh, boy. Because he goes, you always have a headache. And it's like, dude, she's 70 years old, man.
Give the woman a break. Like, he should have known going into this relationship. Well, something going Menzies.
No, she's like geriatric, man. Like, she's like an old lady. And by the way, Maud does not look 70. She looks more like 90. Like, she's
now you're just
really
insulting the poor woman.
Chris, please.
I know.
She looks very old. She looks like she's, you know, I mean, maybe this was her only credit because I'm not sure she lived much longer than this movie.
Did she make it to the premiere is my question.
So anyways, we go in and Doc takes a shower and this like girl, one of the bikini hookers follows him in, one of the hooker army, and she just gets naked while he's taking that shower and she tries to get in the shower with him, and then basically he tells her no, and that Maud will kill them both. She says all this stuff. She's like, you don't like that old broad, and why don't you try grabbing something firm for once or something? I was like, good Lord. And basically he says no, but we do find out it's all about the money for him.
Right.
And then he resists, and she can't resist by calling him our old favorite word from the 1970s, when you could just bandy about the F word.
Bandy about. What's the other F word?
Yeah.
For those of you who don't know.
I don't mean fuck. And basically he storms out, and one of my pet peeves in any movie is when somebody leaves a shower while they still got soap all over themselves. I can't fucking stand that in movies. And basically he goes outside, and then we cut to like her walking out and Maud telling that girl she's got to go to Catalina, and she agrees, and then she like says something to Doc. She's like,
Hang in there, Doc.
Then we go to Catalina, and we get to see, by the way, the most insane music during this part.
Oh, it's
which
incredible.
is played multiple times in this movie.
It's being played right now.
There's no way to explain this other than like, I don't know, it's a small world type music. Like, what is this?
Yeah, it's like it sounds like a ripoff of a Disney ride song.
Yeah, and so Lacey and Mitchell get to Catalina, and they like park their boat, and then he says something like, oh, well, maybe we should go ashore and play tourist.
I swear to God. The events that transpire.
Okay, I wrote, this is just a commercial for Catalina.
Yeah.
I'm going to list off the laundry list of things that happen in this montage while this insane music happens. Going shopping.
On this, quote, stakeout.
Yeah. Keep in mind, they're on a business trip.
Taxpayer dollars are going towards this trip.
Oh, and I can't wait to when he says something about taxpayer dollars.
Yeah.
And here's the list. Going shopping. Driving boats. Eating fish and chips. Riding horses. Kissing. Eating hot dogs. Riding more boats. Swimming in pools. And that's when I wrote, what the fuck police work are they doing?
They're blending in, Mike. They're blending in.
Then, nice romantic dinner. With, quote, from Mitchell, some Cavassier, compliments of the department.
Is this Ramparts or something?
Like, I could just see the expense report, and they're like, you did what?
Yeah.
I'm sorry. What does you getting Cavassier at a fancy fucking dinner on Catalina have to do with this stakeout? That wasn't on your own time?
We're pots, you're thirsty, you're hungry,
It's the 70s. Who gave a fuck?
Yep.
You're right, in the middle of Rampart, basically.
Yeah.
Then, just like in Super Chick, Mitchell, or should I say Johnny, looks over to her and goes, you're too much of a superwoman for me. And they have this conversation. Doesn't really fucking matter. And I'm going to read you my notes at this point, because this is what I wrote while they were having this pointless conversation. I'm sure, this being a Crown movie and all, that they will still fuck no matter what differences stand between them.
Yep.
And just as I wrote this, she is saying, I'll tell you what, I'll make love to you, and I promise to be gentle. And I wrote, how did we end up there?
A woman in uniform, apparently.
Cut to hotel room. We see some weird, bizarre 10 seconds of what I'm sure is the director's cut of Mitchell just like getting ready in the bed, like fluffing a pillow and like kind of like tossing around, being like, oh, should I wait this way? Should I wait that way? Mm-hmm. And then she comes out of the room, the bathroom. What a way to cap off a perfect weekend with a little ba-ba-ba in the bedroom.
Close the books on this, Chief.
She gets undressed. We get Crown sex scene, but
no ankles.
No ankles, all back.
Yeah.
But the fucking montage music comes back. This music playing underneath us right now is what they play for the sex scene in this movie. Which, if you thought it was off-putting for the montage, it's just like, what is this? It's like Heidi or something. It's just like yodeling in the background.
It's like the sound of music is going on.
It is. La, 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 la. And then we get another great Crown moment, which is post-coital discussions. Mitchell's like poured himself another glass of Cavassier, which I'm sure is on the fucking department's dime.
Not to mention the room service they probably ordered.
He asks her how she became a cop, and she says something about how she was picked on as a kid and then decided to fight back and learn karate or something. And he says like, oh yeah, I'm the same. I used to do piano lessons. I wrote, who fucking cares?
Yeah. Run time.
And I said, finally, Lacey ends this madness and says they should get some sleep so they could be doing real police work in the morning. Cut to next day, they're on a boat. Mitchell is drinking a beer and Lacey is napping on the... So they're really doing some great detective
work. Grinding away.
But then Mitchell, mid Budweiser sip, looks over and goes, I think I know that whore.
Wait, it would go from Cavassier to Budweiser. That's like...
Basically, he like looks over at Lacey and he's like, whoa, I know that hooker. And she's like, excuse me? He's like, no, I busted that hooker. She's on a boat. There's a boat full of whores getting on the ocean. Look at this vacation wasn't for nothing.
Oh, goody.
So they go in hot pursuit of this hooker boat. So they're out in the middle of the ocean now, right?
Yeah.
And then the hooker boat spots Mitchell and Lacey because they didn't do a good job at all of tailing them. They just followed them real close, and they're like, why is there a boat following us in the middle of the ocean? And Mitchell decides, he's like, oh, well, I'm going to go fish because they won't know. And Lacey is not buying this the whole time. She's like emasculating him the whole time they're out on the water. She's like, yeah, it's a real great plan, Mitchell. I think they're not going to expect the only other fucking boat sitting out here to be tailing them. You dumb motherfucker.
But the way she says these lines, it's like you can't tell if she's being condescending or
she's
just...
being condescending because this is a stupid fucking plan.
Yeah.
It was stupid from the start.
Yeah.
Let's go follow that hooker boat in the middle of the ocean. I'm sure we can just bust them right there.
Slap the cuffs on him.
The hooker boat doesn't buy it. They drive past, and one of the hookers says, well, I know that guy. He busted me. He's a cop. And they try to ram Mitchell and Lacey's boat. That goes on for a while, and they're like driving around, and Lacey just keeps trying to emasculate Mitchell through this whole scene, being real condescending to him. And then what I didn't get is somehow Mitchell ends up on the hooker boat.
Yeah, he does a running jump off of it, and the scenes that ensues next, I laugh my ass off.
What's his fucking plan?
Well, did you notice that? First off, I want to rewind for like a minute. The jacket he puts on.
He looks like fucking Gilligan from...
not even. I wouldn't say Gilligan. He looks like those the jacket he wears looks like it was a promotional item from like Jif peanut butter, because it is the Jif colors. It's like green, white, yellow, and red. Like nobody in their right mind that's trying not to draw attention to themselves would wear this fucking jacket.
And there is that part where he's in a bathing suit and he yells down to Lacey. He goes, oh shit, we gotta go chase these hookers. Get me some clothes. And then he actually says, bring me that striped jacket and those white pants.
Yeah. Because that's not gonna draw any attention. So he jumps off from the boat to the other boat.
Yeah.
And basically...
in full polo gear, or whatever he's wearing.
He just starts laying out these women one by one. Like, full-on, like, punches in the face.
Yeah, he's... First of all, these hookers have not done anything wrong other than try to ram the boat, which I guess maybe you could get him for trying to assault a police officer at this point. Well, he tries to fight them, and then they just kick his ass.
Yeah.
Like, and hardcore. Like, he's, like, bleeding and bruised on the ground, and they're just, like, smacking him with oars and all sorts of things, which didn't make any fucking sense, because they have all these oars on a fucking speedboat with no life raft, and I was like, well, where the fuck are they?
You know, if the engine dies, your ass is getting out, leaning out the window, and just fucking giving it your all. Can you imagine this, like, this boat full of, like, this lined with whores paddling out?
And they're all dressed, by the way, in, like, these really skimpy bikinis, like, going to do some, like, drug drop-off. And I'm still trying to figure out at this point, what is their plan? They're going out in the middle of the ocean with drugs to do what?
A drug deal, apparently. That's all I can glean from this is a drug deal.
Yeah, and I'm like, okay, I don't get it yet. Anyways... Mitchell gets his ass fucking kicked by these girls, and then Lacey comes on the boat and just karates the shit out of him. Great fight music in this part, by the way.
The cuts are amazing because they cut out the seconds where you would hit someone, but they cut it out because they obviously don't hit them, and it's glaringly obvious, so they cut it right when they're pulling away. So it's this weird, awkward, like, blink and you miss it, but it feels like a weird brain malfunction in your eyes when you watch it. But it's really cool.
It is a good fight scene.
Yeah.
And, like, the camera is, like, all shaky and gets into it, and, like, they do frame it so you don't see when the punches miss, you know? And, like, when she kicks that girl in the face, it looks pretty good.
Yeah, it's great. I have no complaints on these fight scenes, by the way.
I thought they were pretty good for a Crown movie.
Yeah, for a Crown movie, yes. For a Crown movie, this is fucking Crouching Tiger, Hidden Dragon.
This is one of the highest quality Crown movies I've ever seen.
Yeah.
Which is, I mean, it's not saying much, but 1974, they had their fucking act together on this one.
And they kind of, let it go. Kind of let themselves go.
So then after Lacey karates the shit out of all these girls and knocks them all out, and Mitchell's just laying there all bloody and bruised, she uses her compact radio to, like, patch into the radio of this boat, which is like, well, she could have just used the fucking CB radio. But she basically calls in to the police and says, like, oh, I'm going to bring in this boat to San Pedro, and I got 5 prisoners on it. Go to the docks. Mitchell's mad about something, and he's, like, yelling at her, like, oh, you're going to get yourself hurt. And it's like, the chief looks at him and goes, well, no, Mitchell, she's doing just fine. You look like you're having a hard time. I mean, you're the one who's fucking bloody and bruised and got a goddamn cast on your arm. I know he's like
throwing something, throw blame on her. You're the one who wore the fucking jacket.
Yeah, you're the one who looks like fucking Popeye's first mate over here. He looks like Bluto from Popeye, like that shirt, you know?
He does.
With like a little croquet jacket on, like some sort of cardigan sweater. This guy looks fucking crazy. And the only thing that would have been better is if Mitchell was wearing like a little captain's hat.
While he's getting his ass kicked.
So basically that scene ends with the chief telling Lacey, like, okay, well, you can go back to Catalina and I guess get in with this gang.
Yeah, plan B to
She's
work.
like, I'm going to, like, drive this boat back or something. And they're like, yeah, it sounds like a good idea. I don't really understand, but fine. So we go to Catalina, and this suspicious guy, who we'll later find out is a character named Raymond, gets in the phone booth, and he makes a call to Maud's compound. Ladies are playing tennis in bikinis, and Maud is sitting there, you know, counting money, and Doc's sitting right by her, and they're sitting right on the tennis court, which I thought was an interesting choice, considering there's a tennis game literally going on right behind them.
Yeah.
And basically this guy says that the hooker boat left and never came back, and Maud's all pissed about it. She hangs up and she tells Doc, round up all the girls, we're moving out. And this is when I wrote, what the fuck is their plan? Are they going to get heroin to Catalina and then meet people out in the middle of the ocean to drop it off? Why even have the part where they go to Catalina
in the first place?
Just have them go from the dock to the middle of the ocean.
Just cut out the middle island.
Yeah, like middle island. It's so true.
I know.
Okay, let's risk it twice. Yeah. Like, first take the boat to Catalina, then take it back to the docks. Then, like, what?
There needs to be more room for a plot to happen, that's why.
And I wrote, and just like fucking Lunchwagon, there's something about gold being involved. And I just wrote, oh my fucking God. Every time with one of these movies, the plot always revolves around some sort of gold.
Some bullion. It's being moved. Some doubloons next.
It must be cheaper to get like bullion than it is fake dollar bills in a movie or something. We go to the sexist cop in a stakeout. Now he's eating chimichangas because Lacey's not making him eat soup and sandwiches. And he's just watching the TV for Maud's compound, and the gate opens and like all these cars start flying out.
Yeah.
And he's like radioing in to these guys who are on the stakeout, like, oh, follow this car, no, follow that car, follow this car. And they're like, we only have one car. And he tells them, follow the limo. Cut to inside of a Volkswagen Beetle, and Maud and Doc are in there with the 2 girls who broke out of jail, Pam and the other girl. And she says, quote, you just learned a valuable lesson, girls. Nobody gives a shit about what happens to a Volkswagen.
I love that line.
And then Chris, What happens next? The universal sign for something's happening,
Oh,
Chris.
a plane's landing.
Plane landing in Catalina. Maud, Doc, and the girls are meeting at Raymond's house. And I wrote, so apparently the plan is they sell drugs in the middle of the ocean for gold. That's all I can gain at this point. Maud is mad and knows something is up. Go to the Catalina docks. Lacey pulls up in that boat, and she starts doing detective work. She finds out from the harbor master about some guy named Raymond that owns that boat. And he says something like, oh, well, if you wait a minute, I'll get the address for you. And then did you get this where it just hangs on the shot of them?
Oh, it does that a couple times in this film.
But, like, okay, so he just says, like, okay, just give me a second. I'm going to fill this boat with gas, and then I'll get the address. And then she goes, okay. And then she just stands there. And, like, the actors are waiting for the director to call cut. They're just, like, frozen in their scenes.
Yeah.
And it's just like...
Well, this also happened earlier when they were showing her the gadgets. And she says some one-liner. Then the camera zooms in on her face.
Oh, yeah, it just keeps zooming.
And then it stops. But then the music starts playing. But it's like they cued it too late because it cuts out immediately right when the cars pull up in the next scene. Yeah, this is kind of a standard in this film.
I couldn't... Was the guy suspicious of her or something? I don't know.
No.
Because you don't see a scene of him, like, calling Raymond to warn her about her or anything.
No.
It just... I was like... Are we supposed to be thrown off, or did they just forget to cut that part of the film?
Runtime. That's all I'm going with.
They put it in the drive-in, and they're like, oh, fuck, we forgot to trim that part. Oh, fuck. So we go to Raymond's house. Lacey knocks on the door and says she found his boat. Cut to Lacey being slapped in the face by Doc as she's sitting in a chair.
Who are you working for? Who do you know?
And she's just like, I don't know. I just saw this boat in the middle of the ocean with these hookers.
Was in it.
Yeah, nobody was in it. And nobody asked her, like, well, why did you leave your boat? What? You just called the Coast Guard. Like, what are you doing just picking up a random boat in the ocean? Also, how did you fucking get there?
Yeah.
Nobody asks these questions. Nope. They're just like, who are you working for?
Give me your name.
So she says nothing. Doc just keeps beating her senseless until basically Maud tells him to stop. And then, while Lacey's on the ground, Maud just decides to tell the entire fucking plan to Doc right above Lacey. Mm-hmm. Within earshot. Not only within earshot, literally just above her. Like, all right, so what we're going to do... It's just like in Super Chick when they're trying to get on that plane and the boss is like, okay, so the plan is...
Like right next to security?
Yeah. So the two girls from the Prison Break walk in from their shopping trip they were on. And they notice Lacey, and they don't know where she's from. And eventually, Pam says something like, oh, no, never mind, you're a criminal. Did you do time in Chicago? I knew you. And she's like, oh, yeah. And then I wrote in my notes, why the fuck would some random criminal find their boat and have nothing to do with the girls disappearing? What are the odds?
Yeah.
But somehow, Maud just trusts this whole thing and goes, well, Lacey, you want a job? It's like, no.
So many... HR should be fired. The interview process, wow. If you need money, this is the place to go.
She's just like, you've been in jail? Okay, I'll hire you. You sound like you'd work fine for my hooker army. I'm running out of girls, by the way. They keep disappearing. So we go to later. All of Maud's girls are hanging out at Raymond's house. He's like trying to watch TV in a corner, and he's like all annoyed because somehow they've like taken over this place, and they're like hanging laundry on a clothesline in the middle of the living room.
Yeah.
And they're like having some sort of like hippie party. They're all like sitting on pillows and...
I didn't know what was going on here. This is either someone's birthday.
And Pam and Lacey and the other girl from the Prison Break decide they want to go to dinner. And Maud's like, all right, just don't be out too late. So we go to their dinner, and the other girl who broke out of prison starts talking about some prison riot and how bad Tijuana was to be in jail or something. And then she goes on this like 5-minute story about how she was in some protest and they like took off all their clothes and ran around. And I'm like, what the fuck is she talking about? And then all of a sudden she says something about, she like looks at Lacey and she goes like, well, this lady's a cop. I know you busted me. It's like, what? Wait, what?
They're just creating, like pulling out some exposition out of nowhere, I think, just to hurry along any twists that can happen. Because they didn't plant any seeds earlier for this, really.
No, and she just goes like, I know you're a cop and everything. I'm like, why didn't you mention that before?
Yeah. Why are you mentioning it when you're alone with two of them, when you're easily outnumbered in a public space?
What the fuck are you doing?
Yeah.
And then she starts looking at Pam and she's like, you're a cop too because you vouched for her.
Yeah.
And then basically she runs out of the restaurant and Pam chases after her and Lacey tries to, and then the waiter goes like, whoa, 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 whoa. And Lacey
just stops and pays for it. Like, thank God she had like a 10 in there.
I know, she could have been like, police business or something, like, and it would have worked, but she's like, oh, this should be enough. And like,
oh yeah, because you can spend the weekend at Catalina on the tax-free money, but you can't pay for the $10 meal for the three of you.
She like digs through her purse and like we see her like opening her pocketbook and like getting out some money. It would have been funny if she's like, "Can I get some change?"
Yeah. What's 20% of $12.99?
And basically, we cut to Pam and Lacey. They're running after the other girl. They get in a fight on a cliff near Raymond's house. Somehow, the other girl ends up hanging off a cliff, and like Pam's holding her.
Yeah,
and she's like, "Just grab my other hand," and she goes, "I can't," and then just falls.
And this is my favorite, like, of all the crime movies of bodies falling off mountains and hitting the ground. This is the best because the scream is the cherry on the sundae.
It's just like, ah.
Yeah, it's like, ah! And like the bounce, and it clearly
you get
it's a
dummy falling on a rock.
Yeah, and you hear the sound of the rock hitting the body, I think, too, which makes it even better.
Basically, Lacey has a conversation with Pam. We find out Pam says she's Secret Service. And I wrote Secret Service.
Like, this isn't a fucking president. This is like,
yeah, I'm like,
federal.
What the fuck? Jimmy Carter's out here? Like, what are you talking about, Secret Service?
Yeah, we're after the swamp rabbit. Have you seen it?
Like, what? I was like, why would Secret Service be involved? Wouldn't it be like ATF or something?
At least.
What is going on?
Some kind of task force, but not the Secret Service.
Secret Service? And she says there's a bunch of us on the island? I'm like, what? The Secret Service is in the business of putting women on Catalina? What the fuck is going on? Anyways, says something like they come up with an alibi with how the other girl died. They're like, yeah, she like met some like island boy and like he was a little too rough. And Lacey says something like, I'm glad you're here, Pam. I'm glad you're part of the Secret Service. Also, I really like that story. She goes, I really think that's going to be great. And I think Maud will buy it.
Really? I pulled that out of nowhere.
And she's
it
like,
just comes to me.
I wish she would have said, well, Maud buys anything.
That would be amazing.
She never has once questioned anybody on any sort of story.
They should have made a crack like, well, when we get back, tell her I got a bridge I want to sell her.
So we go to Maud's boat, and I wrote, I guess Maud and Buck buy the story, because now they're all on this boat, and Lacey and Pam are there, and then we see all these like stock footage shots of a submarine.
Yeah.
Which is obviously not from this movie.
Because this is another Crown's version of Things Are Happening. There's submarines cruising.
It's like an Ed Wood movie. Like, you cut to a grainy-ass shot of a submarine like it's from a fucking James Bond movie or something. Mm-hmm. And then, apparently, it, like, shoots a missile. Like, it shoots a torpedo out of this submarine.
Filled with the goods.
Yeah, so then, like, it surfaces on the water, and they, like, pull this torpedo to the boat. And I'm like, torpedoes don't just, like, float magically to the surface.
No.
Not at the speed that thing was coming
and
out.
I'm sure there's no GPS to let it know when to open a mechanism to dispense...
Yeah. So I couldn't even figure out what was going on. So, like, the thing comes towards the boat, like, they pull it in with this rope.
Yeah.
And then they, like, touch it. And then I wrote, well, how do they get the heroin to the sub?
Exactly. Like,
and I was like, where's the
handoff?
handoff?
Yeah. It's a torpedo.
I'm like, so this is just a one-way deal? They're like, well, we trust you, Maud. Well, I guess you'll get us the drugs at some point.
Yeah, here's the money.
Here's your bullion. Real lunch wagon scenario.
It's like the amount of bullion. Like, how out are these people with the submarine they had to get? Like, how much money are they out?
Yeah, exactly. It's like a submarine. You couldn't have just drove another boat out there?
Yeah.
Anyways, it cuts to, like, now all of a sudden, this makes no sense, Chris. All of a sudden, Maud and all the hookers are on the shore, and they're all dry.
Yeah.
And there's no lifeboat. They've somehow magically appeared on the shore, but the boat's still in the water, and then like Doc like pulls the torpedo in with a rope to the shore, and then they all unload these gold bars, and they just take them and carry them.
Mm-hmm. It's like, where the fuck are they going?
And he's like handing like 2 gold bars to each girl. It's like, do you realize how heavy a gold bar is?
Yeah.
Like, they're not going to carry 2 of these a long fucking way, where like they walk all the way into like, I guess the army fucking base of Catalina or some shit, where they have all these army trucks waiting for them. I'm like, so wait, are we still on Catalina, or have we reached the mainland at this point?
I can't even tell. I couldn't tell you because they're driving somewhere. We don't know if it's going to be an army barracks.
I don't know.
Who fucking knows?
But apparently these women are carrying gold bullion.
Well, I guess the torpedo was sent to Catalina, I assume, not to the mainland, right?
Chris?
I'm asking
why
too much.
were they even on Catalina?
Who knows?
Anyways, the girls change into the... Okay, so they walk up to these uniforms. They walk up to these trucks, these army trucks, and Maude says something about how there's uniforms in the cars for them to wear, and nobody ever stops an army truck, which I was like, well, I guess so.
Well, she says no one stops an army truck with women in it.
I was like, I guess so. And like all the girls are changing into these army outfits. And then Maude delivers the plan with some voiceover, which I'm sure they forgot to fucking record originally. And so they're like, oh shit, well, we better add some exposition over this because people are confused as all hell on why these women are changing and getting into these army trucks. And then Lacey tries to use their lighter to signal the cops to her location. But then like Doc's like using a radio, and he somehow like is getting an interference beep.
Yeah.
And like tracks it back to Lacey, and I'm like, I don't think
there's
that's
no
how
way
that
would
works.
ever work. No, because if this lab was so great, they would have fitted her transmitter with some kind of blocker.
Yeah, it's just so weird. It's like, so what? They're on the same exact fucking radio channel that she's on?
Mm-hmm.
Anyways, he walks over, he finds the lighter, he finds out it's a tracking device. Lacey and him get in a fight. Pam helps. Maude walks up with a gun. And basically, Doc has knocked out Lacey and Pam, puts them in the trucks, and now they're going to leave, and when the cops show up, they won't be there. Go to trucks on the road. So they're in the back of that truck, and Maude's just holding them at gunpoint, and they said they're going to throw them off the cliffs. And then they get to the cliffs, and Doc goes like, all right, well, who wants to go first? And Lacey volunteers, and then for some reason, just Pam just grabs the gun from Maude, and then Lacey beats up Doc, and I just wrote, what happened to Maude?
She kind of just disappeared.
I was like, did she just die or something? Like, what the fuck?
Like, it'd be great if at the end it said in memoriam and had like the address.
Like, Pam just grabs the gun from her, and then she just goes like, and falls down or something. We never see what happens to her. But basically, Lacey gets in a fight with Doc, and Pam does nothing with that gun, and she just watches and smiles as Lacey fights him. She wins the fight. Then they just go up to the front of this truck, and Lacey karate chops the 2 girls driving it. They take over the truck, knock some car off a cliff, and then they stop all the girls. They're going to arrest them, and then the Asian girl runs off. Her and Lacey are going to get a fight. I don't like this part.
Yeah. Oh, it's like the big showdown.
For no reason. We've never set up this girl as being like an enemy other than the time she said that racist shit.
Yeah.
Because I guess she can't get in a fight scene with Maude.
No.
Which would have been
Can you
great.
imagine? Would have been, that's like the big...
the big fight scene.
The climax is the fight with Maude.
But I like this part is, so Lacey like tracks her down and she goes, running scared, honey. And then I'm not even joking, Chris. A gong plays.
Yeah, I heard the gong.
It goes bong, and then the Asian girl like turns around and smiles at her, and then they get in a fight.
Running scared, honey?
And then Lacey wins pretty easily. We go to later. The cops are there. They're arresting all the girls, and Mitchell and the chief talk to Lacey and congratulate her on the bust. Mitchell says that Lacey and him are going to go work on another assignment together. She says she'll promise to be gentle. They sneak away in a cop car. I wrote, I'm assuming to go fuck.
I like how they have to like sneak into it.
Yeah, they're like,
No.
And they like drive away, and the chief and the sexist cop just smile at each other like, oh boy.
Cops will be cops.
Cops will be cops. All on the department's dime. And then
A-cab. All cops are boning.
We end this movie with Maude and Doc sitting in the back of a police car, and Maude tells Doc that they will have to get off early. They'll get off early for good behavior, and she'll come up with a new plan, and they'll be rich. and I just wrote, Maud, I'm not sure not sure you'll be out in time. You're getting up there in age.
Yeah, 10 years. This movie does they end on an optimistic note with these two, and I like that. Like, they're going to jail, but they're optimistic. They got a plan.
And then we get a shot of just Lacey and Mitchell driving off to that crazy sex scene and montage music. Credits roll.
Yeah.
Recommendation?
Yeah, it's a fun movie.
Yeah. I'd say it's great.
Yeah, it's more to the tune of Super Chick than we thought Chesty Anderson was going to be, for sure.
This is just like if this is like a sequel to Super Chick almost.
Yeah, it is.
It's as if Tara just became a police officer instead of a flight attendant.
I would totally buy into that. Yeah, that's a great comparison.
I thought overall, though, very enjoyable. I liked it. I'd recommend this movie. It's a Crown movie. They're almost always great. I don't think we've not recommended a Crown movie yet.
Yeah.
So you hear that sound, Chris?
Yeah. I was waiting for the pause.
They're sitting right beside you.
No, they are. I can feel his breathing.
Bobby has been breathing down your neck this whole show.
But I've been trying to pretend like he's not here.
So, Chris, and if this is the first time you've ever joined us on this show, we always discuss on every episode how the first episode of this show we ever did, 1977's The Van, starring Stuart Goetz and Danny DeVito, fits into it's a movie about a ginger kid who gets a van and tries to rape women over at the pizza parlor, and his good buddy Danny DeVito's always in those money problems. He's
always scheming.
Always scheming, getting money out to the mob or something.
Yeah.
Can't cover his bookie bets, you know.
He's always
a schemer.
He's always sweating it out.
And we always wondered what happened after the van. What troubles?
Or before the van.
Or before.
Usually it's after the van.
But this one, 1974. So it did take technically place before the van, but we don't know what year it is in this movie, so it could be any time, really.
Yeah.
So, Chris, how would Bobby and DeVito fit into this movie, Policewomen?
So as all this is going down on Catalina, before the product is delivered via the missiles or torpedoes, we pan out across Catalina to back across the mainland, and we see Bobby and DeVito with binoculars looking at this island. And DeVito goes, Bobby, I've got a tip. There's women on this island, and they're wanting something. They're wanting something hard and golden, and it might be us, Bobby. It might be us. And so DeVito brings out this duffel bag full of scuba gear. And he goes, Bobby, you ready? Oh, boy. How does this work? You put it in your mouth, Bobby. Oh, kind of like Sally. Bobby. Bobby, pay attention. We're going to put it on there. We're going to go to that submarine. So what happens is we have this montage of them swimming and these antics, and Bobby's like having sex with a mermaid for some reason at one point, and like the funny music, and then finally we get to see them going towards the submarine, and then we go back to the island, and these torpedoes come up. And the torpedoes open, and both inside the torpedoes are both Bobby and DeVito with raging boners.
You just see this like big poof of hair come out of the torpedo.
Yeah.
And Doc's like, what the fuck?
Yeah, like and they're just leaning back, smiling.
And they painted themselves gold?
Yeah, and they painted themselves gold.
two men with raging hard-ons of this torpedo painted gold.
Yeah. And so basically,
Doc trying to lay stiff. He's like, Bobby, don't move.
Yeah, it's like perfectly still. Doc opens it and goes, huh. And just closes it back on him and sends it back into the water. But it locks on him. And they can't open it back up. So the problem is they start sinking and water's coming in. All you hear is from the outside, Bobby, you can't get it. Bobby. And that's it.
I imagine when Lacey brought in that boat with those 5 knocked out hookers. Yeah. I imagine the cops like going to go arrest those girls and being like, wait, what happened to all those girls?
Yeah.
And all of a sudden you just hear da-da-da-da-da-da. And you see this van just peeling out, speeding up down the fucking San Pedro dock.
Yeah.
And like maybe just the top of one of the bikinis fluttering out the side door.
It's actually attached to the antenna at this point.
And you just see inside that van Bobby and DeVito sitting in their captain's chairs, and they just look back, and he's like, "It's a good catch today, Bobby." What a catch!
What a haul! That's the last. It's till Christmas. Bobby, it's Christmas every day for today.
Bobby, you got a basement, right? Yeah. Maybe we could keep them at the car wash. Oh, these boys always getting into trouble.
Oh, what kind of tricks are they up to next?
So the other thing I want to ask you is, what would Bronson do? I want to know what would happen if Bronson got partnered with Lacey Bond instead of Detective Mitchell.
Oh my God.
So our new segment I'm trying to force on this show is what WWBD, what would Bronson do? Hashtag WWBD at us if you have your own ideas for it. We always wonder now, where would Charles Bronson fit into the world of the movies we're covering? And I would love to know, let's say Charles Bronson's character from Kinjite, in his earlier days was Captain Mitchell. How would he deal with the task of being partnered with a woman?
Well, I'm just going to go to the Catalina montage scene of when they're going. I'm going to go straight to the bedroom sex scene. Straight to the sex scene. And when Bronson...
Did he bring a briefcase?
Yes, he did.
A briefcase with some Vaseline and something else?
Yes, he did. Basically what happens is we're going to see them both going in the hotel room together, and the music's playing, and he goes, "I'm going to go back out to my car." And he goes out, we see the trunk pop open, and there's a briefcase. He brings it in with him, and camera follows, the door still open. We see the latches pop open from the desk, still outside with the camera. We can zoom in, briefcase opens, and all we see is this blur of this kind of yellow-greenish bottle with a blue label on it, and this blurry kind of phallic thing popping up, and the door closes behind us.
I imagine Bronson having a lot of problems being partnered with a woman.
Yeah, he would.
And like in Kinjite, when he goes up to the chief and he goes, "Hey, chief, you mind taking me off the case? I got problems with Asians." And he goes, "You know, Bronson, you got problems with Asians, blacks." I just imagine being like, "Hey, chief, you know, I got problems with broads.
I can't stop smacking them.
I don't think she should be a police lady. In fact, chief, it's real hard. It's real hard, if you know what I mean. Sometimes I can't even get out of the car.
I have to walk like my back hurts."
I feel like he would have there's no way he could ever be partnered with a woman, but I would love to see a movie if they had made it with Charles Bronson being partnered with a lady. Like, Bronson as a cop with a female partner would be one of the funniest movies I think I'd ever see.
Yeah. Kinjite to Boys to Menopause.
Yeah, like, because his partner died, you know? They partner him with Lacey Bond instead.
Yeah.
And he's like, "Oh, boy, here it comes. I can see it now, the paperwork."
Oh, God. It's a bunch of jokes about being on the rag and tampon jokes and...
Yeah, the first time he says, "Put it in your mouth," it's going to be a long day at the office.
Long day at HR, I'll tell you.
Well, thanks again for joining us here at the old Grindbin.
Mm-hmm.
I'm Mike Wood.
I'm Chris Mann.
You can find us on grindhousefilm.com. You can email us directly at grindbin@gmail.com. You can find us at Twitter at grindpod. You can join us on Facebook. And if you enjoy this show, please rate and review us on iTunes.
And don't forget in iTunes to hit that big purple rectangular subscribe button, and we would greatly appreciate that. And also subscribe in the Google Play Store. I don't know how that works because I don't have an Android, but there's a way to subscribe. I'm sure there is. If there isn't, find a way.
And I'd like to say that we have a lot of interesting things coming up. We got a few more regular episodes coming up, but we got some special things planned for October. A couple, you got to do some sort of Halloween deal.
Yeah, we're getting the Misfits on together, all of them. Actually, it's not the It's actually just the roadies. They're wearing Misfits shirts though. That's kind of cool. It's kind of like having them here, right?
Are they just as buff?
No.
But November, we're going to have a real special month. We're going to do a theme month, and I'm not going to tell you what it is right now, but it's going to be one actor or actress's catalog for an entire month, and there is going to be 5 episodes of this show in November. It's a 5-week month, I believe.
Yeah, everybody clear your schedules. This is going to take time.
It's going to be a lot of fun.
Yeah.
And we're trying real hard to get something special to happen. I don't think it's going to happen, but we're still going to try.
Yeah. But even if that doesn't happen that we want to be special, it's still going to be special.
Oh, yeah. You're going to have a great time. We're going to bust it out. And the only clue we'll give you is that it has a connection with one of our past episodes.
Bobby, get in the torpedo.
Hey, Bobby, I got the money.
Yeah, I made the tea. But you're a hooker.
Get that goddamn thing out of your mouth.
Spooky ain't got no real poach.
Hello, pizza man.